to show you how I made this layer of gold waffle paper. Waffle paper comes in a roll like this, and what you're going to do is just cut probably 3 strips or so, and those strips can be, that's probably almost an inch thick. And you'll notice with the waffle paper there are 2 different sides. There's kind of a matte finish side, and then there's the bright gold side. What I found is that this bright side is very slick, and it does not take to snail very well. So what you want to do is turn this over to the matte side, and we're going to run some snail just along the edge of this gold waffle paper. And yes, this is a little bit sticky for your fingers, but that's okay. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to fold and push down at the bottom. We're trying to create a ruffle. So as you go, the snail is sticking the waffle paper to itself, and you can start to round just a little bit, and you're probably going to need at least 2, if not 3 of these to be able to cover the whole outside area of the rosette. So again, in the interest of time, I went ahead and made a number of these. So I've got 1, 2, whoops, and 3. And we're going to go ahead as we build our ornament. These are going to end up going here behind the rosette. So to adhere these, what I have found useful is either using the hot glue, or you can also use Tombow Mono Multi Glue. I'm going to go ahead and just use the hot glue gun and put some glue around the edge. And it's nice because it fits right up on these ridges. And then we're going to go ahead and just take these and start to apply them. Watch out that you don't hit the hot glue with your fingers because it is hot, and it still stays a little bit malleable, so it's still not fully dry, so you can move these around a little bit, but you'll want to kind of pick up where you leave off with one and then just keep going around. Hopefully you can see this. And if you wanted to make this just a little bit simpler on yourself, you could go ahead and cut this last piece. So let's go ahead and just put that last piece in there like that, and then we can go ahead and cut off this excess and save it for the next ornament that we make. One other trick, if you don't like kind of the evenness of how you've applied your waffle paper, you can give it a haircut. So you can come in with a pair of scissors and cut it back. So in this instance, it feels like it's a little bit too large for my ornament. So I'm going to go in and just give it a little bit of a haircut with a pair of scissors. Okay, so now that I've given my waffle paper a bit of a haircut, that looks like it's going to work out just fine. So to attach this, again, you can just use your hot glue. I find that quite easy. So just some hot glue right on your ornament. And don't cover up your eyelet hole. Remember, we're going to have to stick some ribbon through there, so we want to be able to make sure that we can get to it. So far, so good. Now for the last couple of things, we need to first make this greeting. So let me show you how I did that. So let's go ahead and make the greeting. To make the greeting, I used this Peace on Earth stamp from the Peaceful Season Hostess stamp set, and I'm going to use my Versamarker. And we're just going to come in and only ink up the word peace. And I'm doing this with Versamarker because I'm actually going to want to heat emboss using my gold embossing powder. So the Versamark will stay nice and wet while I do my embossing. So just inking up the word peace, and we can eyeball this. I think will be fine. If not, you could always use the Stamp-A-Majig to stamp the word peace on there, but I think this will be fine. So we're just going to take our gold embossing powder and tap, tap, tap. And again, this doesn't have to be perfect. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and heat emboss that with our heat gun. Okay, great. And you just want to let that cool off for a second. Now a couple more things we're going to do. We're going to come in here with our scissors, so that we can make this into a flag. And I like to just cut down the center like this, and then I come in from the corners, so just from the corner to my cut, from the corner right to my cut, oops, and make it into a flag. Of course, this can't be left alone, so two things we're going to do to embellish it just a little. The first is to take a sponge and a little bit of Perfect Plum and just sponge the edges nice and gently. And then we're going to go ahead and take a chocolate chip marker and our spritzer tool, and we're just going to spritz this just a little bit, nice and light, with a little bit of chocolate chip, just to give it a little bit of an aged or antique look. And last but not least with this, we're going to take our antique brads, and we're going to find one that we like. There are all kinds of beautiful ones in here, so I don't know that there's one that I don't like, but we're going to choose this one, and we're going to go ahead and make a small hole using our crocodile. You just want to make sure when you kind of come in with this that you're not covering up the word piece, so I like to make a little indent there so that I know where I want to put my small hole. And I'm just going to come in and punch that out. Going to put my brad right in there. Oh, it's just so pretty. And then go ahead and open up those prongs and push down. The last thing I like to do to jazz this up just a little bit is take one of the pearl jewels and go ahead and just put it right in the center of that antique brad. I think it adds a really nice touch. So this is the last piece that we have to adhere onto our ornament. You can do this in a number of ways. You can use hot glue. If you want to kind of make your flag lift a little, you can do this with your fingers, or you can do this with a bone folder. I think either way works just fine. And it might be nice to put just a couple of dimensionals right on the center hump of this, or you can go ahead and build it up with hot glue, which is also something I like to do. And place that right about there. Great. And if you want a little bit more hot glue just underneath your brad so that it doesn't go anywhere, you can do that too. Let's make sure that that's centered to the top of the ornament. Great. And the last piece that we need to do is just add our hanger for our beautiful ornament. And I use the Chantilly lace for this. And we're going to go ahead and fold that in half. And then what I like to do is fold it in half again, just so it's small enough to fit through, going through the front of this eyelet. And we're going to pull it through the back of the eyelet. So once we pull it through, we have this nice little loop here, and all you need to do is open up this loop and take your two ends and put them right through that loop. I like to make sure my loop doesn't get all tangled, and then we're going to pull. So that's how we're going to hang our ornament. And then for the end, I just like to loop these around and pull them through. And if you want a longer hanger for your ornament, no problem. Just make longer than a 10-inch piece of lace. And then I do like to trim the edges just a little bit. So I fold over the end and take my scissors that I reserve just for ribbon and go ahead and just cut those so that you have a nice little V. And there you have it, a beautiful ornament. And if you wanted, you could obviously do the back as well, and then the ornament could spin. You can put your name on it, or a message, or a photograph. I'm sure you'll think of all kinds of creative things to do with these. I hope you've enjoyed this edition of Card Play, and I look forward to seeing you again soon here in the craft room.